adopted teens to share their journey.
Nathan has taught me to embrace the moment. Age-wise, I'm in my late 60s. I'm old enough to be his grandfather. Will he be embarrassed to acknowledge me as his dad? I think the most important thing we can do is let them know that they're safe, that they're valued and cared for and loved, and that they're important.
I knew I wanted to be adopted by him because of how he taught me to be the person who I am today. And it's coming from a dad that didn't expect to become a dad, and I feel very proud to be his son.
That was what he needed, and he was what I needed. Every day is full of new opportunities. That's what it's been about, realizing the simple things that it takes to make such a huge difference in these kids' lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Listen to the man who tells you exactly how he sees it. The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris, every weekday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
It's time! It's time! It's beta time!
You are watching a master at work.
Truth Nation, get ready for the greatest 60 minutes in radio, giving you his authentic and bold opinions, bringing you all the information, entertainment, and conversations you gotta hear. From local issues to trending topics and headline news, it is time for Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, 1017thetruth.com, and streaming live on YouTube. Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is your award-winning host, Kyle Wallace.
It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. I am Kyle Wallace, the host of Truth to Power here on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth, and we are live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the 3rd Street Marquee Hall in the Avenue. Shout out to my boy DJ Brother Z, always holding it down for me on the ones and the twos. Shout out to you, Truth Nation, for always showing support and listening to all of your favorite 101.7 The Truth shows. We are nothing without you. The NCAA tournament has begun. My Wisconsin Badgers tip off in about a little under 30 minutes, around 30 minutes. So I am very, very excited. Probably need to turn one of these TVs onto the NCAA tournament so I can see Bucky the Badger in the tournament. If you want to chime in on today's conversation, make sure that you chime in using our Truth Talk to text line at 833-212-1017. That's 833-212-1017. In addition to that, watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to YouTube and going to 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Yes, 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, as we are on our road to 5,000 subscribers. But also, in addition to that, so you do not miss any of your favorite 101.7 The Truth shows today. So today I had time. I had time today, Truth Nation. I did. It was the first time. We launched this show on January 20th. And this is the first time since January 20th. So 2 months, literally 2 months ago. Oh, wow. This is the first time in 2 months that I did not have a meeting, a planned meeting. I had people pop in and ask me questions because that's what happens, right? That based off my role and what I have, that's part of my job is that, people are going to, interrupt my show prep with questions. I'm happy to answer because that's what I'm here for. We're a team. But this was the first time since we launched this show that I did not have a scheduled meeting on my on my calendar. And it was simple because, shout out to Dr. Ken. Dr. Ken blocked off my calendar on accident because Dr. Ken Harris is out today. He's on assignment. Homer Blow will be in for Dr. Ken today, 4 to 6 on Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris. Also tomorrow as well, Homer Blow and Doc B will be in for Dr. Ken Harris, who will be out on assignment. And he blocked off my calendar, so I think him blocking off my calendar kept people from actually putting stuff on my calendar today. So I got the win today, but also I think y'all, Truth Nation, got the win, because I feel like I cooked up something really, really good today. But I really want to start out by saying I want people to get out and vote early. I didn't say this yesterday. I talked about it 2 days ago. You can get out to vote early right now. Early voting has begun in the state of Wisconsin, and I want you all to get out and vote early or make a plan to vote. I think it's so important that we make a plan to vote. I want us to understand that early voting numbers early on from the first day of early voting, which took place a couple days ago, early voting numbers were up. They were up, Truth Nation. And the reason why I say this is because that's a good thing. We want people to vote, right? But we have to understand that we saw this exact same trend during the general election back in November, where we saw early voting was up. And a lot of that could be attributed to the fact that there is a growth in that due to Republicans now becoming more accepting of early voting in person and also mail-in absentee voting, right? And so they are now embracing early voting and absentee voting, which is basically mail-in, which helped Donald Trump win in the state of Wisconsin in November. So I just want people to understand that early voting and absentee voting is now something that's being adopted more by more Wisconsinites, more Republicans, which in the state of Wisconsin, where Donald Trump won by less than, I want to say, 35,000 votes. I had to check that to see exactly what the vote total was. He didn't win by a lot. But early voting in Republican places was up. Right. And so that led to and helped and assisted Donald Trump in winning. So with the early voting numbers being up, I mean, I'm talking about a huge uptick from spring of 2023. We're seeing twice as many votes. They saw twice as many votes on day one. They saw 15,000 votes on day one a couple years ago. And now today they're seeing 30,000 votes on day one. Just when it comes to early absentee voting. And then in-person voting was also up 121% from spring of 2023 to spring of 2025. So I just want y'all to understand that in-person voting and early person voting, they're turning out. And the overall vote total will be up. It's going to be higher than what it was. And so why I had to tell you this is because if you are anti what is going on, right? If you are anti what is going on in this country right now, you should definitely get out and vote, because do understand the early voting numbers are in more Republican places now, right? Before it was a lot of Democratic-leaning places that were voting early. Now it's more balanced out, which means that the election, you're not going to have all those ballots come in the night of the election that are absentee votes that they're counting now, that are mail-in ballots that you say, oh, well, most of those typically are blue. No, that's going to be changing. So it's important that if you don't like what is going on right now in our country, then you need to make sure that you make a plan to go vote, and that you educate other people on what's on the ballot, and that you encourage other people to either get out to vote or make a plan to go vote. Because I'm telling you this right now, this is going to be an extremely close election that has a lot of things on the ballot that are going to impact us directly here in Milwaukee. And also understand that Elon has put money into this race. He has put a significant amount of money into the state Supreme Court race. And with the increased money in the state Supreme Court race, he actually is increasing the ground game. And when I say the ground game, I'm talking about knocking on doors, encouraging people to vote, and letting people know who they want them to vote for. And with that, they are hiring people from out of state. There's somebody from the state of Georgia who was in Wisconsin going door to door, knocking on doors to encourage people to vote for who they believe they want elected in Brad Schimmel, right? And so we have to understand, if you don't like what's happening on a national level, then you need to make sure that you're getting out to vote, you're educating people, and you're helping other people get out to vote. And that's what I'm doing. I'm using this platform to encourage people to get out to vote, because it's going to be a very, 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 very close election when we talk about that state Supreme Court seat that is up for grabs here in the state of Wisconsin, which basically will determine who has the power in the state of Wisconsin to make decisions when it comes to being the state Supreme Court. So definitely get out to vote. Now, speaking of elections, before we continue on, again, y'all can watch the stream us live on YouTube, 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Speaking of elections, we have a state superintendent race that is on the ballot. Y'all know how I feel about both candidates. I think both of the candidates are below average. I don't think they're great candidates. I don't think you have a good candidate on either side. You have Jill Underly, who is the current state superintendent here in the state of Wisconsin. Listen, I've talked about her in the past. I'm not the biggest fan of her. She's okay. Like, she's just fine, right? Like, nobody wants to date somebody that's just okay, just fine. That's settling, right? So I feel like, if you vote for Jill Underly, which I will be doing, I'm settling for her, right? It's like, all right, well, she's not the worst. She's not the best. She's just fine. She's okay. Nobody wants an okay girlfriend, right? Or boyfriend, right? If you had to introduce somebody to your boyfriend, say, they all right. I'm like, what the hell? What am I dating this person for? But she is the best option in my perspective. That's just my perspective that we have on the ballot. Because the other candidate running is Brittany Kinzer, who is heavily supported by Republicans like Diane Hendricks and the Eli family, who are huge supporters and have supported Donald Trump multiple times over his multiple elections. So I want you to do your own research. And this is where I'm going to preach a little bit. I want y'all to do your own research. And the reason why I want you to do your own research is because I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. I'm here to just educate you on who I'm voting for, which is my perspective, and why I'm making that decision, right? And so I want you to make sure that you do your own research so you can make your own decision on who you're voting for. And I already told y'all where I stand. If you support Donald Trump in any way, right? If you financially support Donald Trump, and Diane Hendricks, who is one of the richest women in America. So if you support ABC Supplies, who she works with, she's a huge supporter of Donald Trump. The Eli family is a huge supporter of Donald Trump. So with that being said, I don't mess with what Donald Trump does, so I cannot support a candidate in Brittany Kinzer who is supported by money that also supports Donald Trump. But with that, the thing that is on the ballot that a lot of people are talking about is I think about how they're talking about the voucher program, because I really want to address this voucher program here in the state of Wisconsin, which allows for kids to be able to have, funding to go to schools outside of their district and go to private schools and that having different options like that, right? And the reason why I want to talk about that is simply because parental choice, I'm a fan of it. And I am a fan of black kids getting the best education that they can possibly get. Like I want black kids to have the best educational opportunity possible, because what I fully understand is that when black kids have a great educational opportunity, they have the opportunity to go on and thrive and be great. That is the thing that matters most to me. And that's why I'm so hard on MPS. And I want MPS to be better because the MPS educates the most black kids in the state of Wisconsin. MPS is a school district in Milwaukee. And so if MPS fails at educating their students, that means the city of Milwaukee basically is going to fail, because we don't have a group of young, educated African-American students who are supposed to be the future leaders of our city that are getting the proper education to go on to be great. So I want MPS to be great, and I want our black students to be great. I really do. Again, when the kids lose, Milwaukee's future lose, and I don't want that at all. But what we have to understand is when we're talking about expanding the voucher program and it's supported by Republicans, they do not have you in mind. I just want y'all to understand that. Is that, yes, I want black kids to have the best educational opportunity. But the problem is this, is when Republicans in the state of Wisconsin are supporting that, we have to understand they don't have our children in mind when they are talking about expanding the voucher program. Let me expand on that so y'all understand what I'm trying to say. Is the Republicans don't have you in mind because Republicans don't represent the city of Milwaukee. We are not their constituents. And they have proven time and time again that they don't care about Milwaukee. They have proven time and time again that they are working for their actual constituents. So when they say they want you to vote for somebody, do understand it's not to benefit your kid. It's not to benefit the city of Milwaukee. It's to benefit areas such as the rural areas that typically vote more red, because it is their job. They are elected not to represent Milwaukee. They are elected to represent the people in their communities. And we have actual historical information that shows us that they will sell Milwaukee out. We literally pay 2.4% in taxes, not because that's what the city wanted us. Listen, I can bash Cavalier Johnson all day about that. But do you think Cavalier Johnson went up to the Capitol? You think the Milwaukee representatives in the assembly went up to the Capitol and said, hey, we want to have an extra sales tax here in Milwaukee? No. They went up to the Capitol and said, we want more of our share of revenue. And the Republicans said no. They told the largest city in the state of Wisconsin, the biggest economic engine in the state of Wisconsin, if you take Milwaukee out of the state of Wisconsin, Wisconsin would not be thriving the way that it is. And they told us that we can't have a larger share of the revenue that we generate. And so then they said you have to tax the people. So to think that Republicans give a dang about our kids when they don't give a dang about our families having to pay extra money for sales taxes is foolish. It is an absolute foolish thought to have. So what you have to get is this, is the reason they want to expand voucher programs is because they want to allow for more middle-class white Americans who live in rural areas, who live in suburbs and exurbs, to have the option to be able to send their kids to better schools. That's what it's about. This ain't about black kids in Milwaukee. This is about expanding the voucher program to allow for kids in West Allis, Wisconsin, kids in South Milwaukee, St. Francis, Greendale, Greenfield, Waukesha, and yes, some kids in Milwaukee, white kids in Milwaukee, to have access to more funding to go to better schools. It's not about our kids having better schools. It's about their kids having better schools to go to. That's what we have to understand. So don't be a fool and sit here and vote for something that ain't really for you. It's not. What makes you believe in a political climate like today? And when I say a political climate like today, I'm talking about white lawmakers who, again, represent white suburbs and rural areas who are actively trying to destroy diversity, equity, and inclusion. What makes you think all of a sudden on this specific issue that they are going to focus on the success and the growth of black kids in Milwaukee? That they really want black kids in Milwaukee to get a better education? Don't fall for the rabbit in the hat trick, Truth Nation. They don't care about our kids. They care about their constituents. And so that's what we have to understand, is that when they're talking about expanding voucher programs, will some black kids benefit? Absolutely. But they're talking about allowing for more students to be able to be part of that program, raising the cap. They're talking about expanding how much you have to make in a four-person household from, low 90,000 to boosting it up to 115, 120,000 per household to allow for more white students from the suburbs, from these rural areas, to be able to benefit off this voucher program to send their kids to these schools. What makes you believe in this time that a school that has no benefit at this point, there is no benefit of having black students in your school or Hispanic students in your school now because diversity is frowned upon? So what in the hell in your mind makes you believe that voting for Brittany Kinzer or voting for what the Republicans want to do will actually benefit our kids, when we know at the end of the day they are working in the best interest of their constituents that do not look like you and I, Truth Nation? So this is what I want us to understand, is that if we fall for this trap, our kids will not be the beneficiaries of this voucher program. I'm telling y'all this right now. I don't want us to fall for this. They're going to raise the financial eligibility, they're going to raise the cap, and you're going to see a large influx of white students now utilizing the program that did not utilize the program before. So when you go and vote, Truth Nation, be very wary of what is on the ballot. Do not vote for the folks who openly advocate for DEI to be dead. I'm telling y'all this right now. Don't do that. We're going to talk about some DEI dead stuff on the other side. But lastly, before we go to break, I know I'm running late here, Truth Nation, but 833-212-1017. Come on in and join this conversation. But the last thing I want to talk about is this. I was at my mama crib yesterday, mom and daddy house. Mom made catfish. It was good. I had to run on the treadmill after. I'm trying to slim down. Delicious. But one thing I love about going over to my parents' crib, my brother came over, is when we all there together, we have these fiery conversations, right? These intellectual conversations that get me going. And something that triggered me yesterday was talking about school. And it made me think about this upcoming election, and it made me think about, it's so interesting that we always talk about accountability, right? Like we talk about pull yourself up by the bootstraps. That's what they say. They say pull yourself up by your bootstraps. They say work hard and earn everything. I worked extra hard to get this. But I find it so interesting in this instance. You want me to pay for your kid to get a cushy private school education. And what I say, and I will continue to say, it is not my responsibility to help your child have the best education. It is my responsibility to pay my property taxes. It is my responsibility when I see kids in the community to make them feel seen, make them feel welcome, make them feel like young kings and young queens. But it is not my responsibility to anybody else's kid in this country, in this state, in this city, to provide for them to have a better educational opportunity. That is you as a parent's responsibility. You have the responsibility to say, if I want my kid to have a better education, then I need to make sure I do what I have to do. So if you have to work an extra job to be able to afford to send your kid to private school, then you do that. If you need to move to a community in order that you believe has a better educational outcomes for students, but also a better educational opportunity for your child, then you do that. If you believe you need to go to a school and network with people in the community or network with people at the school to be able to have your kids have an opportunity to get into a school through an open enrollment or something like that, you do that. But don't say it's my responsibility to invest my tax dollars towards your kids' education outside of the city of Milwaukee. That's not my damn problem, and it's not my responsibility. So I just find it interesting that so many people talk about pull yourself up by your bootstraps, take accountability, but in this instance, they want to steal and take money from us to help their kids get educated from different communities in different places. So I just find it extremely interesting that this is the line we want to draw. So Truth Nation, do you believe it is our responsibility to provide a better education, an educational opportunity for other people's kids? 833-212-1017. When we come back on the other side, I want to hear from y'all. We're also going to hear from Nicole as well. I see you, Nicole. We're going to get to you on the other side. But I want to talk about this educational opportunity, but then we're also going to talk about some DEI stuff because, boy, we got some garbage happening right now in this country. This is Truth to Power on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. You can watch and stream us live on YouTube. That's 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. You can hit us up. If you want to call, you can text at 833-212-1017. We'll get your calls. We'll get your texts. We'll get your messages on YouTube. Coming up next, this is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and streaming live on 101.7 The Truth on YouTube.
Here at the new 101.7 The Truth, we aim to be a staple in Milwaukee's Black community. We are committed to partnering with local organizations and supporting Black-owned businesses. We are proud to call Milwaukee our city and promise to be a positive reflection of our community. We look forward to celebrating Black culture and excellence with you every day as we make history and continue to uplift the voices in our city. Join us for the journey at the new 101.7 The Truth, founded by Gruber Law Offices. Milwaukee, Black Talk.
This is Sherwin Hughes from 101.7 The Truth for Axe Housing. Are you tired of paying a landlord rent when you should be paying yourself? Do you want to leave a financial legacy, or would you like to have a stable place to call home? Well, it's time for you to start on the path to owning your own home instead of renting. You can work with an Axe Housing coach, and they will teach you how home ownership can be a reality. Axe Housing has helped over 4,000 families in our neighborhoods. Many times your mortgage will be a lot less than what you're paying for rent. As an average Axe family who has been helped pays around $900 per month. No matter what barriers you think you're facing, Axe Housing coaches can assist you right now. An Axe Housing coach will help you create and stick to a plan and a budget and get you ready for home ownership. If you're not dreaming of home ownership by now, you certainly should be. Let's make it a reality with Axe Housing. Get started on a virtual orientation by clicking on axehousing.org. That is ACTS housing.org. Don't let where you are financially right now get in the way of your very bright future of becoming a homeowner. Axe coaches are here to help.
Protect your dream home with American Family Insurance, and you can weather any storm. You'll also save up to 25% by bundling home, auto, and life. American Family Insurance. Get a quote or find an agent at amfam.com. Products are not available in every state. Discounts may not apply to all coverages on an auto or home policy. Discounts do not apply to life insurance policies. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company assigned its operating companies, American Family Life Insurance Company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Finding stable housing shouldn't be a struggle. The Milwaukee Rental Housing Resource Center connects renters, property owners, and partners to the resources they need, whether it's rental assistance, legal aid, mediation, or tenant education. No matter what your situation is, you do not have to go at it alone. Get assistance today by visiting renthelpmke.org. That is renthelpmke.org, or stop by their office at 728 North James Level Street in Milwaukee. At the Milwaukee Rental Housing Resource Center, they are here for all your housing needs.
Truth Nation, gear up for a great time as Sports Milwaukee hosts Milwaukee Tailgate Week, presented by Potawatomi Sportsbook. Set for April 24th to the 26th, Milwaukee Tailgate Week features a variety of gridiron activations for all ages, steeped in Milwaukee's iconic sports history, attractions, brews, restaurants, and venues. As the 2025 draft takes center stage in Green Bay, Sports Milwaukee and the Cream City are excited to welcome the football world back to Wisconsin. For tickets, go to visitmilwaukee.org/tailgate. Brought to you by Visit Milwaukee. Handcrafted, homegrown, world class.
It is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Truth Nation, the Gruber Law Office's Analysis Live is back and takes place on Saturday, March 29th at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Join Thanasis Antetokounmpo for a live show that is going to entertain fans like none other, with special guests, Mr. Buxton Six himself, Brandon Jennings, and so many more surprises that you will get on that night. I'm telling y'all, I know some of the surprises. You will not want to miss the Analysis Live. I cannot wait to be there. So get your tickets right now for the Analysis Live on March 29th at Potawatomi Casino and Hotel by simply Googling. If you Google the Analysis Live, you'll be able to find it, or visiting ESPN Milwaukee on Twitter for event and ticket info. I'm telling y'all this right now. This is going to be a phenomenal event. Last year was cool. Stephen A. Smith was there, surprise. Giannis there, with Stephen A. Smith being there. They had a little shooting contest as well. I'm telling you, the excitement and entertainment you can't get anywhere else. So come on and join us for the Analysis Live coming up on Saturday, March 29th. This is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. And on the other side, I was just talking about the fact that, listen, there's an election coming up where we have the state superintendent race, and I think both candidates aren't good. But when we talk about expanding the voucher program, I just want people to understand is that, will black kids benefit from the expansion of the voucher program? Yes. But we will not be the biggest beneficiary of it, because it will be expanded to allow for more white kids from the suburbs, right? More white kids from West Allis, South Milwaukee, St. Francis. And why I specifically say those schools is because, let's just be honest, West Allis Hale, West Allis Central, Hale's decent school, Central decent school. Like, academically, they're not the highest achieving schools. St. Francis, not the highest academically achieving school. South Milwaukee, again, all these schools, they're fine schools, but they're not the best available schools. And so kids who live in Milwaukee as well, what they're looking to do is they're looking to get more white students opportunities to be educated at some of these schools. That is what this is all about. So that's what I'm trying to let everybody understand, is that, yes, it sounds good, but this expansion of the voucher program that is pushed by Republicans, they are going to make sure their constituents are going to be the ones that benefit from this. Do not believe that these group of people who do not support you, and that is Republicans, because they do not represent you whatsoever, do not believe out of all of a sudden they're going to start supporting the things that matter to us. Do not fall for the trap. 833-212-1017. Larry, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. What are your thoughts on this conversation?
I absolutely believe it's not our responsibility to have to pay for that. On the same token, I feel like we should spend more time, effort, and money educating our own kids, because it's kind of not productive to think that somebody else another group of people who don't have our best interests will educate, our children properly. So I do think it's not our responsibility, but we also need to pay more attention to our own kids.
No, thank you, Larry. I 100% agree. I 100% agree that is something that, again, and I'll repeat this now, is that when I talk about it's not my responsibility, listen, my responsibility is to pay my property taxes. I do that, right? My responsibility is to be a positive influence on kids, right? And Tory Lowe is the one that told me that when he sees young kids, he always acknowledges them, right? And so ever since he told me that back in 2021, I said I want to do the exact same thing, because I feel like too often young black kings and queens don't always feel like they are acknowledged, right? They should be told, what's up, how y'all doing, y'all good, right? Because that could be something that could make them feel accepted. So I think it's so important. But when it comes to my tax dollars going to private schools here to be able to educate other people's kids, it's not my responsibility. That's your responsibility as a parent to make sure you have the best educational outcome from your student. My own parents did it, right? They looked for other programs to put me in where they felt the best position to be successful. That's what they did. That's all it takes, right? I know it's not easy for everybody, but what I do know is if you want to get the best educational opportunity, move to Glendale so your kids can go to the Glendale School District. Move to Shorewood. Move to Brown Deer. Move to Waukesha County. Move to other places. If you don't believe in the potential outcomes in MPS, then move somewhere else or try to find a way to get your kids in another school. 833-212-1017. I'm going to transition over because there's another thing that we got to talk about. Is right now, Truth Nation, they are actively trying to erase history. They are legitimately actively trying to erase history that impacts African Americans, women, people of color. That's exactly what they are trying to do. And I do not want y'all to think that any of this is an accident. Do y'all find it interesting that they have pushed so hard to restore monuments? And when I say monuments, monuments of the Confederacy, but at the same time, they're pushing to erase the history of the impact that African Americans, women, and people of color have made in this country. When we come back on the other side, we're going to have a conversation about this because there was something that happened yesterday in the news that I'm not sure if you saw, but I got to bring to the forefront because they are actively trying to erase our history, but at the same time trying to embrace the history of the racist South traitors that fought against the freeing of enslaved people in this country. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk to Text line. On the other side, y'all, we're going to have a conversation talking about how the government, the United States government and military, erased history to the point where legendary Jackie Robinson, yes, the legendary barrier-breaking Jackie Robinson in baseball, he served in the military. And the United States government doesn't want you to know that. I'll tell you why on the other side. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It's 1017 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. We talk a lot about the unprecedented quality and service you get from Pella, but talking to the people who work there, you can tell how much they genuinely love what they do. Helping fulfill people's dreams is very rewarding to them, and it shows through their tremendous efforts. Pella consultants take the time to listen to each customer, finding the right solution that works for their home. They know that everyone's situation is different. Maybe you have a historic home you're renovating, or it's a new build with unique finishes. Pella designers can customize windows and doors to perfectly match any one-of-a-kind abode. They're with you from start till finish. It's like having a friend on call throughout the project and beyond. They don't disappear after the sale. So why wait? Get the Pella experience in this incredible deal. 0% interest for up to 6 years on brand new Pella windows and doors. Certain restrictions apply. Ends March 31st, 2025. Get started today at PellaWI.com.
Elon Musk and Donald Trump are out of control, slashing healthcare and food for hungry kids, eliminating the Department of Education. Now, Musk and Trump are trying to buy a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, spending millions to elect extremist Brad Schimmel. And if elected, Schimmel wants to criminalize abortion, even in cases of rape and incest. Brad Schimmel, an extreme rubber stamp for Musk and Trump, and wrong for Wisconsin. We need justices who are fair, who know right from wrong. Judge Susan Crawford has spent her life standing up for Wisconsin and keeping us safe. She'll always protect our right to choose, and Crawford will be the check and balance we need against Elon Musk and Donald Trump. On April 1st, vote Susan Crawford for Supreme Court. Go to www.iwillvote.com to find out where and how to cast your vote by April 1st. Paid for by Power to the Polls Action Fund, not authorized by any candidate or candidate's agent or committee.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, That's all.
They treated me like family.
They're actually people that you can depend on.
They made me feel seen. They really treated me like I was a part of their family, a part of their team.
They ask how you're doing, how you're feeling.
They're just so welcoming and so sweet and kind.
It's like family, caring about another member of the family.
If you've been injured, it costs you nothing to see if Gruber Law Offices can help.
Milwaukee, there are two ways to get things done, and they both take time. One is a request, and the other is a mandate. We Energies has raised rates 7 times in the last 12 years, and now they're planning new gas plants and extending the life of old coal plants in Oak Creek. We need a mandate. No new power plants or coal extensions until affordability is guaranteed for all. Join us at the public hearing on Tuesday, March 25th at 1 p.m. at the Oak Creek Community Center Ballroom. It's time to show up, speak out, and demand change. Milwaukee, let's make our voices heard.
This Associated Bank Sports Update on 101.7 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Brandon Snide. The 38-30 Milwaukee Bucks will look to get back into the win column tonight. Head coach Doc Rivers discussing one of the issues facing his team.
We're in an offensive funk right now, and we have to get out of it. We'll work our way out of it.
They'll see if they can work their way out of it tonight in L.A. Tip-off is set for 9:30 against the Lakers. Over to baseball, where the Milwaukee Brewers beat the White Sox in spring training on Wednesday by a final of 5-4.
3-1. Fly ball right field. It is back and gone. Tyler Black with a 3-run homer to give the Brewers the lead in the bottom of the 8th inning.
And lastly, the NCAA tournament will tip off today. Marquette set to play Friday night against New Mexico. This sports update brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams. Member FDIC.
You are listening to Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on 101.7 The Truth and The Truth app. Catch Truth to Power every weekday from noon to 1 p.m.
Truth Nation, our 4th annual Tory Low Community Cleanup is on Saturday, April 12th, and we want you to be there from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And again, we need y'all to be there. So go to truthcommunitycleanup.com to sign up to volunteer to help keep Milwaukee clean. Everyone who registers for the last cleanup site will get a free lunch provided by Cousin Subs. Register today at truthcommunitycleanup.com to clean and beautify our city together. The Tory Low Community Cleanup on Saturday, April 12th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. is presented by 1MKE. We are 1MKE and sponsored by Cousin Subs, Ray's Coca-Cola, Landmark Credit Union, Waste Management, and U.S. Cellular. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk to text line. I want y'all to chime in, and if you have any thoughts on this conversation, but also you can watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Now, the other part of this is why you shouldn't trust these individuals, because let's just be very frank and honest. These individuals are either incompetent, inconsiderate, or just completely reckless, because what we are seeing right now is the erasing of history when it comes to the military. And as I alluded to on the other side, is that, again, I find it interesting that we saw a couple years ago when, after the murder of George Floyd, you saw a push in America to remove monuments of Confederate leaders because they felt like these individuals shouldn't get statues, even though they were traitors in this country. They should be talked about in the history books because it is part of our American history, but they shouldn't be uplifted by having statues and bridges named after them to memorialize them when they actually tore our country apart and killed a lot of American citizens. We should not be supporting this. And the fact that you have a president and you have an administration that supports treasonous traitors that try to divide our country over the enslavement of black people here in America is crazy to me. Right? They tried to protect their way of life, which was enslaving other human beings. But unfortunately, you have politicians and you have a president that is actively trying to celebrate some of the darkest days in our history by honoring these traitors and these losers from the Confederate South. Now, what makes this so terrible, Truth Nation, is the fact that we right now are seeing the United States Department of Defense scrubbing all history that has to do with what they would call to be DEI. And what we're seeing is the elimination of DEI of the past inside of the military. starting with the Pentagon removed a webpage of Native Americans who raised the American flag during World War II after we won the Battle of Iwo Jima. There was a photo of Native Americans who were raising the flag, and it talked about how these Native Americans fought in World War II for this country and helped us win the battle in Iwo Jima. It was a sign, the photo, you've seen it, where people are raising the flag. It was a sign of American great pride. But because they were Native American, and it said Native American in there, and it did not just specify it being, just people. The fact that we highlighted that Native Americans that were slaughtered and murdered by many people's white ancestors in this country, despite that they were slaughtered and they were treated a certain way, they still fought to protect the freedoms of this country. And they pointed it out, they erased it. They went as far, right? This is how foolish this is. There was a plane that fought and battled in World War II that dropped bombs during World War II. The plane was called, the aircraft was called the Enola Gay. The Enola Gay dropped the atomic bomb on Japan. But because it had the word gay in it, they erased that from history. I just want y'all to know how incompetent this process is of erasing history. Simply because the plane was called Enola Gay back in the 1940s, they erased it. The word gay was the trigger, and so they erased the photo of an aircraft that is historic that dropped the bomb, the atomic bomb in Japan. I just need y'all to understand the foolishness that we are dealing with right now as a country. They have removed photos of black people randomly just because they were black. They even removed photos of Tuskegee Airmen, and again, simply because they were black. They removed black women who were barrier breakers, and also women, just in general, white women as well, who broke barriers. They removed anything that had to do or described the impact that individuals made who were not white men. They are trying to eliminate not just our history, but they're trying to eliminate black history. Something that should really upset you as well is that the Arlington National Cemetery is where many individuals who fought for our country are laid to rest. So the Arlington National Cemetery wiped their website of history referring to anything that had to do with black people, Hispanic people, and women veterans. They went so far, just hear me out, they went so far to scrub the fact that Colin Powell, General Colin Powell, who fought for this country, who was a Republican, who was the first black chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, and was the first African American to be a Secretary of State, a man who dedicated his life to protect and serve this country. He literally protected and served his country beyond the military battlefield, but also holding a high up position as Secretary of State. This country erased his history and his story on the Arlington National Cemetery website because they said it uplifted and separated black people. I just want y'all to understand that Colin Powell supported Republicans and was considered a great war hero. But now they are trying to erase him because he is an African-American man. I ain't making this up. This is all factual. I'm not just out here trying to rile people up. I'm out here providing information. And to top this all off, the thing that actually made people extremely upset, and you know why, because baseball is a sport, America's pastime, is they erased Jackie Robinson from history. Yes, their system that they have to erase history erased the legendary Jackie Robinson, who broke barriers here in America by being the first African-American to break the color barrier in baseball. Here's the story from ABC News.
Department igniting a firestorm after pulling a webpage dedicated to baseball icon Jackie Robinson. Why was the page taken down, and what's happened now? Here's our senior political correspondent Rachel Scott tonight.
Tonight, the Pentagon sparking outrage after removing from its website a story celebrating the Army record of American icon Jackie Robinson, who broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball. Robinson was drafted during World War II. The story on the website included a description of his refusal to move to the back of an Army bus, an act that got him court-martialed and later acquitted. This morning, Robinson's story no longer available. In its place, this error page, and in the address bar, an indication of why the page was taken down. Added to the URL, the letters DEI for diversity, equity, and inclusion, something Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has vowed to purge from the Pentagon.
You have to tear out DEI and CRT initiatives root and branch out of institutions.
Jackie Robinson's son David Robinson today saying he was surprised the Pentagon removed the tribute to his father, adding, "We take great pride in Jackie Robinson's service to our country as a soldier and a sports hero, an icon whose courage, talent, strength of character."
Jackie Robinson was cut out for DEI. Now, it's back up now because of the outrage that happened. But this is what's happening right now. Black people who literally sacrificed their lives in a country that hated them. My grandfather went to war. He was a cook in World War II. He came back to America, and they tried to treat him as a second-class citizen, and he told that white man, "I will blow your brains out." That's exactly what he told him. Why? It's because he went over and sacrificed his life. He left his family here in America to try to protect his country. But when he came back to America, they still tried to treat him like a second-class citizen, and he wouldn't stand for it. And they're trying to erase my grandfather. They're trying to erase your lineage as well. That's what they're trying to do because you're black. 833-212-1017. Winky Blue, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. What are your thoughts on this conversation? Winky Blue going once. Winky Blue going twice.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Winky Blue, what's up? Yeah, I can. What's up?
Yeah, you going pretty hard this morning. Listen, brother, the deal is what allowed this idea to even start happening is when we got behind a movement to get rid of these Confederate soldiers' monuments all across the country. In the process, brother, because we were eliminating racism, supposedly, in the founders of this, I forget the little guy's name out of New Orleans. When he white guy, he was pushing the effort to get rid of these Confederate soldier statues, but in the process, we also removed our stuff. We got rid of the Aunt Your Mama. And we didn't have but a few little ideals in the community, right? But we got rid of that because it falls in line with the move the statues. Okay, we move the statues, so we get rid of all of the racism stuff. And this is what gave birth to this whole deal, man. And they can't get rid of our.
Do you think it's fair though, Winky? So we say we want to remove traitor, treasonous individuals who fought against America. That's what the Confederate South was. Do you think it's fair that we are trying to not give people statues and put them on a pedestal when they literally made for families to get murdered over the Civil War because they wanted to continue to enslave people because they said it was their way of life? How can we compare that to a Colin Powell, General Colin Powell, that came 100 years after that, after the Civil War, right? He was active after that. He was born in 1937. How is that comparable?
There's no comparison because you have to realize something. You can't erase black history because remember, especially when it comes down to the military, because we had the Negro Army. Do you understand that, brother?
They erased the Tuskegee Airmen. They legitimately took away the highlight for the Tuskegee Airmen because they don't want to separate any race.
They tried to.
There's other instances. There's other instances that they did eliminate them. Photos for the Tuskegee Airmen they did take down. Now I know they took it out being taught in history and there was pushback.
You mean as far as the website?
But
you mean the webpage?
Yes, webpage photos were taken down from the Tuskegee Airmen.
Okay, listen, but when you're looking at Operation Firefly, what was it? Firefly? Operation Firefly. That was a group of black folk that were, they were almost kamikaze.
Hey, Winky, I'm so sorry. We got to get to other calls. But I'll just leave it at this. Thank you, Winky, for calling in. Is that we can't think this was done by mistake. We can't. You can't erase history and then put it back. Be more competent than that. Martin, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I got about 30 seconds here for you as we try to push through all these calls.
What's up, my brother? Truth to power. I think sometimes we as black folks miss the understanding. Sometimes they go over our head. You got to understand, you're dealing with white supremacy. You're dealing with something that don't like black from back in the days to present times. But that had nothing to do with the barriers that were set currently. That has nothing to do with DEI. That is history. So if they try to erase history, try to erase the people. That can never be, because black history is American history.
I agree. No, I 100% agree. 100% agree. I mean, that's what we're seeing right now. 833-212-1017. Al from Sherman Park, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, Kyle, what had happened was the page actually had DEI in the title, and the program was written to go through and remove anything that had DEI. So rather than the people manually by hand going through each story, they relied on a computer. Jackie Robinson's story can go back up under a web page. It should just be under American.
It should be under American. It's back up under American, but the fact is that they have code words in there. They have code words such as gay as well, and they have code words such as black that are part of the system that they wrote to utilize AI. They put, and we know how coding works, they put specific words in there, right? Is that if anything like that was in there, then they took it off. And so, again, the fact that they use words like gay, they use words like black, they use words like Native American, they use words like DEI to basically scrub everything and bring it back, that's extremely disrespectful. Why don't we put the word white in there and see when white pops out? That's what I'm just sick and tired of, is that we cannot make excuses for them doing these things on purpose. There is no excuse to this. Our history should never be erased whatsoever. And I think it's important for us to point out the fact that there should be black or the word African American or whatever they want to put in there, that should be emphasized. Because I understand a lot of people sacrifice them lives, but for African Americans and Native Americans to be treated the way that they were, not only here in America, but even when they went overseas, and as Winky Blue said, you had to fight in separate battalions. For us to be treated that way, we should highlight that. They should specify that these were black men. Despite being treated like this, they still went up there and sacrificed their lives for this country that hated them, did not love them at all, did not give them the same access after they came back to America. 833-212-1017. Lana Banana, how you doing? Last caller for the day.
Okay, I'm all right. How you, Kyle?
I'm doing well, doing well. What are your thoughts on this conversation?
Good. They keep saying that they're taking these important people of history out, and then they keep saying, and then they'll say, "Oh, it was a mistake." Then they'll put it back, because I think they said they put Jackie Robinson back.
Yeah, they did. They did put it back. Some of these they are putting back. Some of they are not. Yes.
But see, they never should have taken them off in the first place. That's stupid to me. You know, like it shows where their mind is at too. Because I wouldn't care what Trump say. If it's a human thing, if you want me to take away something from history just because it has to do with the person's color and their gender, you the one with the problem. I'm going to keep this here and see what he does. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. I 100% agree. Thank you, Lana Banana. I appreciate you calling in. I 100% agree, and I appreciate everybody that's calling in. Wayne, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. We've got about 30 seconds here for you. What are your thoughts on this conversation?
Yeah, hey, great show, Kyle. One of the things I always say is that ChatGPT AI is a great tool, but it is only going to be as good as the user. So there's nothing wrong with them using it to identify what they want to take down. But once you identify it, you have to review it. And once you review it, does it make sense, right? And this is the problem. People think AI is a shortcut. No, it is a productivity tool to help you be faster and better at what you already have. And that's why people don't use it correctly. And they just take what it gives and says this is the truth. And many times you're going to find out that you're going to wind up making a big mistake.
Thank you, Wayne. I think you said it so great. And again, I appreciate all the callers, but I think he said it perfectly. Utilizing AI as a tool to put, I mean, I think it's sick that you just put in certain words for it to be able to find it. But Wayne is absolutely right. At that point, you utilize it as a tool, as a resource. And once you see it, don't just scrub it. You see Jackie Robinson post up, do your job, right? We talk about Department of Government efficiency. That's not freaking efficient. Is it efficient to take some down and have to put it back up and deal with the firestorm that you have to deal with that, make people upset, the backlash? That's not being efficient whatsoever. It's being counterproductive. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk to Text line. Also, you can watch and stream us live on YouTube. We will wrap up the show on the other side. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
On April 1st, we have a choice to make. Donald Trump wants us to elect Brad Schimmel to the Supreme Court. Elon Musk's even spending millions to elect him because they know Schimmel will do whatever they want, even if that means letting them cut health care and food for hungry kids or eliminate the Department of Education. That's why we need to vote for Judge Susan Crawford.
I'm Judge Susan Crawford. As a former prosecutor and now as the judge, I've made sure rapists, murderers, and child predators were behind bars where they belong. And I trust women to make their own healthcare decisions. Brad Schimmel doesn't, but I always will. And that's why I'm asking for your vote.
That's Judge Susan Crawford, protecting our rights, our families, and our community. So on April 1st, help keep Trump and Musk in check. Go to the polls and vote for Judge Susan Crawford for Supreme Court. Make the right choice. Vote Susan Crawford on April 1st. Paid for by Susan Crawford for Wisconsin.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The Greater Milwaukee Urban League is celebrating 105 years of legacy and impact. The 105th year milestone community engagement campaign is a mission-driven effort to support employment, education, advocacy, and entrepreneurship initiatives. Together, they can continue their impact and legacy. Join them in raising $1.5 million. Text 105 to 41444 to make a secure online donation today. Visit TMUL.org for more information.
Saving energy and money is easier than you think. Here are 2 simple things you can do to reduce your energy use and lower your energy bill. Use thermal curtains to reduce each room's energy loss by up to 25%, and make sure vents aren't blocked by furniture or rugs to improve airflow and comfort. Simple, smart savings. Get more energy-saving tips at WeEnergies.com.
This is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
1, 2, 3, ho!
This is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am Kyle Wallace, your host of Truth to Power, and I just want to say thank y'all so much for tapping in and joining in on the conversation, calling in. I'm telling y'all this right now. I am extremely appreciative of the participation of the community conversation, because of the simple fact that I think these are important conversations to have. I feel blessed and fortunate to be able to have this platform, but I feel even more blessed and fortunate to be embraced by the community, that y'all want to engage in this conversation. A day like today was so important to me because when I saw the news about Jackie Robinson, and I have been seeing constantly like the attack on women, right? And I talked about it before, the attack on trans community, attack on black people, Native Americans, like that, even the code, Navajo code breakers, or I forgot what they're called. I want to get it right. The Navajo code talkers, right? Who in Native American wartime contributions have been removed. Like there's things that I just don't feel like are always highlighted, and that we just need to talk about. And I felt like this was something that needed to be talked about. Yeah, some of the stuff, not all the stuff. Colin Powell not being added back. Some of the stuff gets added back, some of the stuff doesn't. But the fact that we are legitimately living in a time where they're taking away American history, because American history focuses on the contributions of people of color, the people who have been disenfranchised, the people that were segregated against. I think that's what they're missing, is they're not understanding that the contributions that these individuals made were despite the fact that they were not treated equally and fairly in this country. But they still raised their hand to say, I want to protect this country. That is the most American thing that you can do. And trying to erase that history by not focusing on the fact that, yes, African Americans said, I am going to give my life for this country, that is important. That is extremely important. So again, I thank y'all for chiming in, and make sure y'all always do your own education with the election coming up. Get out and vote early. Get out and go and find somebody else to vote. Just let's make sure we get out and vote so we can make sure that we continue to have the freedoms that we deserve to have here in America. This has been Truth to Power with me, Kyle Wallace, on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. The Tory Lowe Show is up next. Peace out. See y'all tomorrow.
Truth Nation, let us talk our ish for a moment. There is no other station in the country where you get a front row seat to hear from some of the biggest names in politics,